I really love the episodes and I miss the episodes where I can just sit here and be pretty and funny.
You're welcome. Dude, this series, I am fighting the urge to put the, like, whole bind up of all five of them, right? That's like 700 pages, on my wish list.
Do it.
Because I kind of want to own them physically.
Oh, I don't know I'm getting you for your birthday.
Oh, also, you know how the bind up, all the individual covers of each one also has it in, like, instead of the asterisks in Mindfuck, it's an apple with nails, very small. But you know how, like, the bind up has, like, the apple, she's holding an apple with the nails
Yes.
in it. That comes up in this book. The reason why.
Apple. Great man.
There's a reason why. Listen, there was, like, a whole thing where the FBI were questioning in the first one why she doesn't take a souvenir as part of her serial killing, because, like, that's rare. Fun fact, she does, and that's where the apple comes into play.
Interesting.
Uh-huh. I don't think I have a fun fact. Do I have fun facts anymore? Who am I?
I think you're having crisis, Christy. I mean, you are turning old soon.
Shut the fuck up. Call it the police. How dare you?
I'm an old woman, everybody.
How dare you? Hello, welcome to a Fish and Flower podcast. I was gonna do another fun fact, actually, because I did think of one, but I'm gonna do a different one. A different one that has to do with the day that we're recording this, which is Valentine's Day. That comes into importance when I say for my fun fact. Anyways, I'm Flower, aka Rose, and my fun fact is when I went downstairs, on the kitchen table, there were like 3 Valentine's Day cards. I think one of them was from my mom to her boyfriend, and the other 2 were from him to her, but also he's, like, made sure that there's gonna be, like, flowers delivered to her at work and all this stuff. I don't know.
Why do you keep kind of real occasionally?
He always hits it out of the park for, like, big, like, getting presents and whatnot for her, so I guess that's good. But I went downstairs and I was like, wow, it's been so long since I've had someone to get me Valentine's Day cards or anything. And then I remembered someday soon, I should be getting one in the mail from a specific fish.
Maybe there might be something. You know, they were only my mom left today, so I was like, here, put these in the mailbox. It's like, just put them outside. No, I like to put them in like the mailboxes, so I know they'll actually get taken up.
Yeah. My favorite part is that you know my last name and you didn't even put it on the envelope. You just did Rose Lillian. That's hilarious. Thank you.
Because that's who you are. I don't care. You're Flower.
Yeah, I am Flower. Listen, when I eventually find you, the 7 husbands of Evelyn Hugo, which every once in a while is brought up that I have not finished it and should send it to you, and it's not even brought up by the fish. It is brought up by my mom's boyfriend, who every once in a while is like, hey, was I supposed to deliver something to that person? And I go, yes, I haven't finished it yet. And he goes, okay, and then gives me a side eye. So
I appreciate him and his side eye.
I'm getting more shit from him about this than I'm getting from you. And it's for your birthday last year.
It'll just have to be for your birthday. I get a present on your birthday now.
I guess. I remember, like, 3 months ago making a joke about, imagine if it was a Valentine's Day present, and it is today, Valentine's Day, and I have not picked it up in, like, 2 months.
Girl, you've read it before. It's not that deep.
I have the audiobook too, so I'm listening along as I read it, but, like, I don't fucking know what's wrong with me.
You have issues in your head.
That is, true. Anyways, you want to do your intro?
Yes. My name is Fish, aka Stingray, and I had the idea to send my son Valentine's Day cards in January. I've had time to do this since January, and then I did them like 2 days ago, and they're just now being mailed. on Valentine's Day. Does that tell you the type of person I am?
Yes.
Also, I think yours is my favorite.
I love that for me. I'm very excited for it to come.
I tried very hard. Don't be disappointed.
This is a Stream of Consciousness podcast, very similar to how we talk to each other on a daily basis. On today's episode, we have the second book of the Mindfuck series, Sidetracked is the title of it. Can you guess where this is going?
You're gonna giggle though because I put something else in there with a card, and you're gonna giggle.
Oh my goodness.
You should open it in a vlog.
I don't know about in a vlog, but I will record it for you.
Okay, I think it would be funny though.
I don't know, it may get here in time for the finishing series vlog, and I happen to be reading a bunch of smut for it, so I'll open it for that.
When you said smut, Kiki just eyed me so evilly.
She doesn't like that I'm reading, what was it, Lake Monster smut. Okay, you already talked about this, actually, book that we're supposed to be talking about, Mindfuck. It did take me 2 days to read. I would like everyone to know. For some reason, this series is just really nice for me to read right before I go to bed.
I question you.
No, literally, my nighttime routine recently has been, like, do skincare, brush my teeth, all that fun stuff. Climb into bed, like, turn off my lights, change, going to bed, and then just pull out my Kindle and read most, if not all, of the book from 9 to midnight. And then go to bed. Who am I? I mean, literally, the day that I started it, I was like, okay, I should, like, actually go to bed. I'll put it down. And then I was like, one more chapter. And then I was like, I should go to bed. One more chapter. I should go to bed. One more chapter. It was after midnight. I was like, one more chapter. One more chapter. And then I finally stopped. It was stopped at 69%. I laughed really hard, despite the fact that there was only one sex scene in this one. For your part, you can just sit there and listen to me talk about this book, so just make sure the headphones don't die.
Oh, they're freshly charged.
Make sure your mom doesn't overhear this, because she's going to question you even more. And you don't need the grippy socks. I don't think you need the grippy socks.
Not at this point in my life, but I have plenty left over. Don't worry.
I'm saying, I don't think you need them at this moment. Maybe sometime in the future. I mean, we can go together. I mean, I keep on asking if you want to go to Claire's and get a lobotomy with me, but...
Yeah, I think I do. That sounds quite nice right now.
Oh, there's so many memes about it right now on Instagram, and I was dying laughing.
The only thing I'm going to be thinking about this whole time is the fact my heart stopper poster is crooked. Because I moved everything around, you know?
I love that for you. Totally fits this book, totally.
It's Valentine's Day. I can talk about Heartstopper.
Accurate. So this is a book. This is a book. I recommend you reading not reading. I mean, you can read them if you want, but they're dark romances. So I call them erotic thrillers. On my tracker. But I recommend you listen to the first episode. If you happen to be watching this on YouTube, chances are you are. I will have it up above in the cards, and I will make a playlist of just them. And I will also put it there, so as the new ones come out, you can just check out the playlist, because they're going to be like every other week, I think. I don't know, we're still recording very far ahead. Content warnings, we have, this is basically the same as last time. I assumed it was going to be the same, so it wasn't until 20% when I checked the content warnings, because I was worried there was going to be some incest.
Yeah, when you said that, I was like, oh.
Literally, I took a screenshot of the content warnings, which are murder, torture, rape, pedophilia, and child abuse, and said, thank God, because I thought there was going to be incest.
Yeah, and I was like, if that's where the bar is,
No, because I have to explain that the first flashback, it was heavily insinuated in my mind that, what is his name, Mason Marcus, whatever, her dead brother, who were both kidnapped by the same people, right? And so, the way that it was written, it was one of the guys being like, come on, do it to her, or else we'll make sure that you never get to use it again. Something along those lines. And my brain went, oh no, did they force her own brother to, right?
Yeah.
As far as I can tell, that's not what happened. Because nothing is blatantly said. Thank God. Also, fun things that happen in this book. Logan using his big brain and figuring things out. Still thinks that she's a man, but starting to realize some things. And how she's probably smarter, and he's questioning if she's really a man because, like, the way that the killings are happening, there's no, like, the way something men, something killers, blah blah blah, right? So he's getting a little suspicious of some things, but also someone brings up the idea that there's a possibility that Lana herself is an assault victim, and he, in his brain, because the first meeting, is very,
I mean,
the way she acted on their first meeting is very different on how she's acted since then, because she's, like, been putting on an act and whatnot. Partially putting on an act, but trying to be the most real her she can, instead of being the first impressions girl that just, like, it takes no shits, all that stuff. Right?
I mean, it's a surprise because this is statistically most women have been
Yeah. Yeah.
assaulted before.
So he was worried about that, and then he was, like, thinking in his head, and he was like, well, she shows no signs. Like, when we first met, yes, but, like, she doesn't, like, mind when I touch her and all this stuff. So that's fun.
Anything.
There's also, like, another content warning that I feel it's not on the list, and I'm not gonna say it, but it has to do with pregnancy. It has to do with pregnancy. Because they have another safe sex talk in this one.
Oh my god, I'm dying.
Anyways. So I did. Oh yeah, another thing is that, oh my god, dumbass me. When I read the first one, I saw a list of 4 names I think it was cross out, and I assumed it was something about, because then right after it was like a dedication about victims and whatnot. So I thought that was like victims of real life cases and whatnot, and about how you're no longer, like, you're not a victim, you're a survivor, stuff like that, right? Until I started the second one and I realized there was a list with the same 4 names, but also 3 added names. 4 added names, which include the 3 guys and the random guy in the alley she killed in the first one. Which means, no, it's her kill list.
LOL. That's so real.
Which means, with this book and the one person she kills in this book, her kill list is up to 9, I believe. Icon. Anyways, I did highlight the dedication was really good, so I am just going to read that out. This is for the ones who lost their voice. This is for the ones who wish they could be Lana Myers. This is for the ones people still whisper about. This is for the ones who fight every single day to forget you're not alone. And then she lists it's the list of people, right? That with the crossed out lines. Here, I'm gonna count them. 1, 2. One of them's name is Chuck. Taylor Hoover, Chuck Cosby, Nathan Malone, and Jeremy Hoyt are the 4 before the book series.
I'm sorry,
and then there's
Chuck?
random alley guy. And it's just getting closer, ... Love it. Okay, so those who do not remember, the first one ended with Hadley, a co-worker of Logan's. This has a lot of Hadley stuff, especially her background in it, so I'm gonna go into her character. We learned from the first one, works mostly in the gathering evidence aspect and also the cybersecurity aspect, because she joined in when she was a teenager, I think, like 16 or something like that, when she was caught hacking into the FBI, and she was given the option of either joining them or going to jail. Which I know is a thing they do, actually, for cybersecurity stuff. So...
Imagine you get bored and you try to hack the FBI.
Well, we learned some of her background in this one and why she may have done that, and, like, get off, queen. Also, there is hints that Hadley is a lesbian. Because after the scene that this book starts off on, Lana does ask Logan some questions, and he's all like, it's not like that, she's like a little sister to me, right? And says she doesn't really date anyways, and if she does date, it's usually women.
Hell yeah.
So, we love an icon. Anyways, so the end of the first one, I thought it was going to be the boogeyman, the other serial killer that Logan is in charge of hunting down, coming for Lana, because everyone knows he's going to go after Lana. Right? Cough, cough! Anyways, instead, Hadley shows up. And she has Lana's file, and she's like, why do you have a fake girl's, like, name, all this stuff, right? Uh, she threatens, basically it's this whole scene where she's threatened Lana, with all this information, including all the private medical information, which is illegal. She hacked into her medical records and printed them out to be like, hey, I have the proof. And she's all like, I'm sorry, I didn't want to tell my boyfriend of like 2 weeks about my trauma. Like, I didn't want to dump it on him. Her basic background. So the girl whose identity she took, Kennedy, right, was like 16 the night she died when she was supposed to die, right? And she was in a horrible car crash because she was on drugs. And her parents, she was like an orphan, and all this stuff, and an heiress. So she, basically, her whole thing is like, yeah, I got off drugs, I got clean after all that. It was like a wake up call to me, and then I went to school, I got my GED, I went to college, I got everything, like, I became the person I dreamed I could be, right? That's her covering up. When she starts asking like, well, you should have died, literally Lana lifts up her shirt and shows her the scars on her sides, right across her stomach, I think it is. So that's fun. And basically makes Hadley feel a little bad, but she's also like, I'm gonna show Logan these, and she's like, okay, then I'll explain to him, and if he still leaves me after that, then it's his damn fault, because he shouldn't make me feel bad about how I look because of scars. Like, I don't understand.
Real.
There's also this whole thing where she's like, you look completely different. That's another thing. She looks different from Kennedy. Which, there was a thing where in a car crash, Kennedy's face was completely fucked up, and whatever they did to Lana / Victoria was made her face so fucked up to the point where she need, like, most of her skull is just actually metal now, and needed a bunch of reconstructive surgery. It was mentioned in the first one that she has, like, still a little bit of scarring on her face that she can cover up with makeup, but, like, it was much worse, and, like, it took millions of dollars, and, it is explained in this one that, she got a, not questionable, but, new technique, from a doctor in Russia to come all the way to the States to do the surgery, and that's the only reason she even looks like a normal person, right? Because otherwise she would have looked like the monster they wanted her to be for the rest of her life. Anyways.
Why is this kind of crazy?
So she's kind of worried about having to explain everything to Logan and whatnot after Hadley leaves. She does, like, try to slam the door in Hadley's face, like, twice, and Hadley won't let her, but she eventually does get to. And she's, like, slightly worried, but she's like, my past is solid. Jake did, a bunch of work to make it so all the files have, like, been switched, even, like, on the records, all her scars and injuries, her blood type, even her fucking DNA is actually Lana's, so it shouldn't be an issue.
Damn, that's crazy.
Sorry, I just remembered that this book is a comedy with a grade A line, I am Kennedy Carlisle. Well, actually, I'm Lana Myers. Victoria Evans and Kennedy both died, and Lana was born. It's a wonder I don't have an identity crisis.
That's so me-coded.
Sometimes there were just lines like that that made me cackle, and I was like, dude, it's 9:10 a.m. or p.m., and this is an erotic thriller. After that, it switches to Logan's POV. He's in the car with a bunch of people he worked with, including Lisa, who is his ex. It is described in this book that they low-key dated. It wasn't, like, anything serious. They only been dated, like, a month or two when she purposely transferred into his department to get closer to him. But there's rules against dating people in your same department, especially if you're, like, the guy ahead of the department. You can't, like, date a lower person in the department, right? That makes sense. And so he had to break up with her, and she still is pissed about it. And she is worried that because the boogeyman made it personal and is going after Logan, he's gonna go after Lisa, and all this stuff. And he's like low-key ignoring her and like talking to the guys of the department who know that he has a new girlfriend. And he's all like, "Hey, I'm gonna send 2 police cars to her house, uh, and all this stuff." Uh, and he's all like, "We should like everyone on the team keep a lookout because he like could be fixating on the whole team, not just me, but like send them to Lana's house." And Lisa's like freak out, like, "Who the fuck is Lana?"
Well,
They do meet in this book. It's a very funny scene in which Lana tries very hard not to stab her.
that's real.
Um, oh my god, not the line. He's determined to keep me safe. I'm determined to slice and dice a serial killer who may or may not get spooked by the blues outside. Lana, please, Lana. Yeah. So there's like 2 police officers. There's 2 police officers who are not inconspicuous, like they're very obvious, sitting outside her house on the street 24/7, and I think she's on the phone with Logan, who's on his way to her house, and so there's like all that. He's trying to get her to agree to let another police officer stay in her house, also, so that there's always someone with her. All right. Um, Don't worry, we'll meet Duke soon. Cough, cough. Yes. But this is not FBI people. This is like the police department in the area people, right? So there's like a whole bunch of people, blah blah blah, wanting the credit, all this stuff.
The vibe is just being incompetent, correct?
Yeah. And so, yeah, she's worried about having someone stay in her house because, like, murder room, and also how is she gonna get away to, like, kill people, all this stuff. So, and I quote, "It's all cloak and dagger right now. That's what happens when you're a serial killer dating an FBI profiler who hunts serial killers. Somehow my simple life got very complicated."
Oh, I like it. Oh, it's Valentine's Day, right? My nose are glittery, so.
I love it for you. So, he, at this point, is at her house trying to talk her into it. There's also Lisa and 2 other guys there who know that they're together, right? Lisa is very much acting up, like, how dare you try to protect this girl that you're dating? I didn't even know you're dating someone, all this stuff, right? And Lana quickly realizes he's talking to her like she's an ex, not a normal coworker. And not her thought process is, and I quote, "I might actually cut her more than a little."
Sorry, why am I giggling over this?
I know, right? Anyways, he takes her into her bedroom to like have a conversation alone. There may be some dry humping and making out at the same time. Anyways, she thinks that he genuinely cares about me. He's terrified for me right now because a merciless killer might be after me. The irony isn't lost on me. So, good times. Anyways, so she eventually agrees. He tells the guys to, get someone from his specific list of officers from the normal police department that he trusts, right? And they're all like, okay, we'll let them know. And so, cause he, like, really wants he doesn't want someone, random man to be alone in a house with her, right? Valid. And when she realizes this, she's like, "I don't tell them. I just castrate them and nail their legs to the wall if they tried anything. Instead, I let them feel as though I'm weak and need protection because right now that's how he needs to feel." I forgot about the choking thing with Duke. Okay, so, cough, blah, 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 bunch of stuff, trying to hunt down, the boogeyman. The police officer they send to stay with her is named Duke. He's not on the list. Logan, not a big fan of this. He's like, why the fuck are they sending a homicide detective? That seems kind of suspicious. They can just send a normal police officer, but they send a homicide detective. Hey, shouldn't he be like trying to figure out some homicide detective stuff? Like, very suspicious of the police department, as he should be, right? So he rushes over to her house, to find Duke. So they're like, he is trying to teach her self-defense. She's internally laughing at him because like she already has like 6 black belts and knows all the self-defense stuff, right? And he doesn't realize that he's all sweaty from all the action of doing the self-defense stuff, but she's like completely fine. She's not sweaty at all, not out of breath or anything.
That's so funny.
But he decides, because the boogeyman is into choking, it's a good idea to choke her up against a wall.
I think these bitches create hobbies for real.
I know, right? And
that's
when Logan barges in. He's choking her against the wall. And initially, he's like a little harder than he needs to be. Logan barges in and is like, what the fuck? And Duke is like fighting with Logan as his hands are still around her neck, progressively getting tighter and tighter. Until she body slams her, like, the palm of her hand into his throat so that he can't breathe and almost breaks his windpipe. And all I'm saying, or crushes his windpipe, and valid. Logan smiles and is very proud of her, and she has to come up with the excuse quick, so she's like, oh, sorry, that was just automatic response, and his instincts, and Duke is like, well, keep up with your instincts, I guess, like...
Well, pause. Most women know some sort of self-defense tactic.
Yep.
Why are we playing this game?
I know, right? Yeah, no, he's, like, constantly tightening more, to the point where breathing actually becomes difficult.
I can't even be funny haha on this one. I'm mostly just, like, bringing up valid points. Anyways,
Yeah. So, yeah, that happens. Duke is kind of angry at the other guy, at Logan. Logan is angry that they sent Duke instead of the normal people that he had a list of, that he trusts, and he's very suspicious.
Like, your name's Duke. You're already...
Suspicious enough? Especially as a homicide detective who, the first time you meet a woman who is being stalked by a serial killer, most likely, chokes her? Like, I'm pretty sure she can file assault charges. Like, hello? Anyways, there's the grade A line. It's sad that I want to hide my bodies now so that my boyfriend gets a break and can spend more time with me. Yeah. So she spends some time with Logan, and I think he basically just immediately goes to sleep. She, like, helps him strip so that he can go to bed, and then she just strokes his hair the whole time that he's asleep, right? Because he only can sleep, like, 4 hours at a time. And he's on the phone, talking, and there's, like, apparently 2 more bodies dropped by the boogeyman. Or, no, another body, so it's 2 bodies in 2 days. And Lana's brain is like, I dropped 2 bodies in 1 day, but I hardly feel like now is the time to brag about my awesome efficiency. And it's just like, we just gotta applaud women for doing the work. Just really breaking that glass ceiling so that we can do the work that men have been doing for years. I'm actually tearing up, laughing at my own joke there.
You have a very important message.
Uh-huh.
Open it.
Thank you. I'm sorry, did you not like my Hannibal ones last night?
No.
I gotta find them again. Oh my god. A box of chocolates isn't going to be the only thing eaten out tonight. And let me get all up in them guts. Those are still the best. There were like 10 in that, but those were the 2 best. I died. It was like 10 p.m. I had just finished his book, and I snorted so loud. So he's worried that he has to leave again, and doesn't like leaving her on her own, all the stuff, right? So he's all like, I feel bad, like I haven't done enough, all this stuff. You're now being chased by a serial killer, all this stuff, and she's all like, stop acting like you're not enough. Not that I want to beg him to save my soul from damnation. I want to plead with some powers above to take away the pain that drives me, to let karma step in and handle the rest, but I'm the only reckoning there will be. Listen, the things that I've learned about Kyle in this book, who was apparently the ringleader,
Pause. Your name is Kyle? Get out of here. Like,
I'm pretty sure that's his name. I'm 98% sure. Uh, yeah.
if I told you that's my real name, would that explain enough to you?
So, oh, not the lines, their sins stained my soul with so many darkness that their deaths are needed to cleanse me, to make me feel whole again. I need to replace their taunts and evil laughter with the sounds of their screams.
Oh my god.
I sleep better with each new scream I get to add. Their screams override the scent of their breath, the strikes of their hands, and their dirty, disgusting fingers. They'll never hurt anyone else, even if they rise from the dead. They lost their tools of pain. Because, she cuts off their penises. The rest will join them soon enough. I can't stop now, not even for Logan.
Oh my god.
So the new body that the boogeyman left was strapped to the top of a car in public, and then he pushed up the car in the middle of the street so people would just find it, right? And this one, how the last one he wrote Logan on it, or carved Logan into the body. This one he carved you can't. So they're trying to figure out why maybe he got stopped in the middle of carving. So
he's making a sentence. Obviously, there's only so much room on a body.
I know, right? So there's like this whole thing where they have an idea of where he is. So Lisa and I think her name's Elise, the other woman, are in one car going, and Logan and Donnie, I believe it is, are in another car going after, and they're all like, hey, but they have to stop to get gas, which is so funny to me. And so, they're like, hey, don't go in on your own, especially since you're a woman and that's, like, his preferred target's like, hey, wait for us to get there. And they're like, don't worry, we will, because, like, they gotta wait for SWAT to get there anyways. And then they're almost there when, giant, one of those giant, like, 18-wheelers, or, you know what I'm talking about, zooms past them and almost makes them crash, right? But then, they realize, who did crash? Lisa and Elise. Their car is like, or their SUV is like tipped over. They go to the car. Lisa says that it was the boogeyman. He took their guns. But she had a secret one. Yeah, he pointed his gun at them and was like, "Hey, give me your guns," right? And then at this point they were still upright, right? And then he broke her window, Lisa's window. He broke her window and then used the glass from the window to write. What was it that he wrote on her arm? Here, let me check. I think it was something. Keep. He wrote "keep" in all caps on her arm with the glass.
So far we have Logan. You can't keep.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to know what the sentence is so bad.
So, she had this spare gun that he didn't know about. She, shot him, twice, grazed him. But he had a girl with him, a hostage, so.
Oh, Lord.
But somehow, he had a hostage, but knew they were coming, and all this stuff, right? Yeah. So, they realized that the truck that passed him that made them almost go off the road is the boogeyman. And also when he went past them, he blew his horn. Logan's very pissed. And so, yeah, they've come to the realization that he was tipped off. And Logan's like, look into the local PD, and find out if the officers who were aware of the raid has a daughter or a wife, and then go door to door and find out if someone is missing. It wouldn't be reported. And that's who the girl is. And also they assume that the girl is dead. Now, because he has no need for her now. Oh god, okay, so this is the part where they break up. God, I remember this part because I was like, I swear to God, if they break up, I'm gonna kill myself. I think I told you I would shoot myself in the foot.
Yeah.
They did briefly break up, but they got back together by the end of the book. It's fine! Anyways, So, they're at the hospital, doing all the things. I think Elise has like a broken leg in 2 places, which I know from when my dad did that. It's fucked up. It's bad. And there's like fucked up ribs and all this stuff, right? And Hadley's there hacking into the security cameras because they think the boogeyman is gonna be there either in person or hacking into the system to watch them to see their reactions. And also, they think that the boogeyman must be smarter than they initially believed to be able to do all this, right? Right? When Lana comes rushing in, and he's all like, "What the fuck are you doing here?" And Duke tries to explain that like he couldn't get her to stay, and all this stuff, and he's like, "You're like 200 pounds," she's like 110, and he brings up the fact that like she brought. I think there's like this whole thing where like one of them brought up that fact when she tried to leave without Duke, and he was like, "Well, if you're leaving, I gotta come with you at least." And he's all like, "I couldn't have bodily kept her there because she's not like a suspect or anything. She's just a random civilian, and therefore it would have been illegal to do that, right?"
Yes.
Yep. So she's very mad that Logan didn't reply to her. His phone was like dead or dying as he was calling the ambulance, right? So, he didn't get her like dozens of calls and thousands of text messages, so didn't reply to her.
She was just worried. It's alright.
It is explained later on. They do figure out that the reason that the way she found out that someone in the team was injured, but they didn't tell her that he was fine, is because the sheriff of the police department purposely told Duke that someone on the team was injured, but not to tell her who it was, so that she would be rushed to the hospital, so that the boogeyman would follow her home, and then they could get the boogeyman afterwards. So, putting a civilian in more danger.
What the fuck?
As you can imagine, Logan's not happy about that. When he realizes
I'm
that.
not happy about that shit either. The fuck?
I know, right? So, she's very angry, that he couldn't give her the dignity of even, like, a phone call, like, okay, your phone's dead, how about this, you have a bunch of friends with cell phones. Give me a call, you dumbass! So she's all like, I can't handle a lot of things, but I won't let you walk over me, then refuse to offer me the same peace of mind, and then get pissed at me, talk down to me, who the hell do you think I am? Oh yeah, there's like this whole part. So like, they're fighting in the middle of the hallway at this hospital, as everyone else is just like, hi, and she's all like, you didn't tell me you were safe, and then he's all like, you need to be safe. And she's like, okay, so you're allowed to have multiple people in my house watching me to make sure I'm safe. And I agreed to, only for your own peace of mind. But you can't even think about giving me peace of mind.
This is valid.
And how it's my own fault that I'm here and all.
Like, she's rightfully upset.
Yeah. So, yeah, she's pissed. Also, when she gets there, she walked up the 3 flight of stairs. She basically ran up them, right? And
Me.
Duke followed her the whole way. He's out of breath. She's not. Nobody clocks this. Anyways, she storms away, gets in the elevator. Eventually, Duke does join her in the elevator and is very smart and doesn't say anything as she's silently trying not to cry. I would like you to know, she states multiple times in this book she has not cried since the day that she got free.
Oh my god.
And she cries over Logan in this book.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So, she has Duke drive her home, and then eventually she does, she takes the keys back from him, switches places into the driver's seat, and she's like, what are you doing? And she says, giving you time to get out of my house. I don't want to be around people right now. All of you better be off my property before I return. And he's all like, listen, I get you're pissed right now.
You're gonna hate what I'm about to say.
Uh-huh.
They're so sleep token coded.
Oh my god, go away. Anyways, Duke says that he was an overbearing douchebag who was a thoughtless prick. But like, don't risk your own safety. And she responds, you have no legal right to be here. Just as you said, I can't stop you from loitering on the street, but you've officially trespassing. If you stay on my property, be gone before I get back, or ironically enough, I'll call the cops. She tells the cops
She's
to
so
get off her
real.
property, or she'll call the cops. Honestly, an icon. I love her.
I also love her.
She's
Don't
so
worry.
Funny. Anyways, she's very pissed, so she's gonna go on murder time.
Valid.
So they have a warehouse that technically Jake has rented out. So she's driving to that warehouse, which is where she keeps all these different vehicles that she can switch out and whatnot when she goes on killing fun times. I would like you to know that, and I quote, I also drive with my knees as I turn off my phone and pull the battery out. The way this bitch can drive on the road normally with her knees, but I can't drive with my normal hands. So like, what the hell? What?
That's hot. Being able to drive your knees is hot. I don't care.
Yeah. Anyway, she calls Jake with her disposable phone. Is that what it's called? I don't remember. And he's like, how's Logan? That's the first thing he says, and she says he's in one piece and untouched. He's also recently single. Anyways, she's crying now silently. Jake says, hey, listen, I know that I don't like the fact that you are dating a federal agent or living with the cops. But you you sure you're not like breaking up with him, leaving him, as an excuse to get out before you get too attached and all this stuff. So she internally is all like, I've already fallen in love with him, so like I'm already too attached, like it's too late. The next person on her kill list is named Anthony, but she's barely even started stuff. There's only 2 cameras there. But Jake has put all the other cameras in for her, so she can just watch the cameras, and whatnot. He says pretty sure aiding a murderer isn't what they had in mind, which is very funny because when they find her body from this book, let's just say a few of the police officers are on her side. Including Duke. Do they know it's her? No, but anyways, so after Hadley showed up to her house out of the blue with her files, she had Jake go looking to Hadley. And there's this whole thing where when she left home when she was like 14, 15, right? After there was like this whole thing where she was labeled as a pathological liar, and she's like, okay, but the FBI wouldn't have hired a pathological liar, right? And the reason why she was labeled as a pathological liar from a psychiatrist was because her mother took her to a psychiatrist after she said that her stepfather was assaulting her, and then basically it's basically explained that the mother had the therapist tell her that she was making it all up and it was in her head and it didn't happen.
What the fuck?
And so after that, she ran away from home, and that's when she started hacking into things, and that's how she became working for the FBI. And so she's like, is there any truth in that? And he's all like, well, before that, there was another woman he dated or was married to who had a young daughter, who also had signs of bedwetting and other symptoms of going through sexual abuse as a child. And since then, he has been he works in something to do with child services. So basically, he works with young kids who have no family and are runaways, so no one asks questions when they go missing.
Oh my god.
Obviously, Lana's like, ooh, seems like a fun guy to stab. He tries to make her stop. She's like, we have a system, we have a plan, we have all this stuff. And then, he's all like, we have a plan. First we get all the 6 son of bitches who wronged you and Marcus, her brother, and then we take the ones who wronged her dad. And he says that they're not avenging angels who can go after every pervert out there. And she explains, hey, she's a social worker with unlimited access to children. Especially children who are more likely not to tell anyone. Yep. So she's like, "Are you really sure that you're willing to sit there and let this continue on? Uh, and say that you're any different from the people from their hometown if you just let this happen?" He's like, fine. He's not too far away. I'll text you his address. Make sure don't to use your normal MO. It can't be connected to the Scarlet Slayer because that is his name for her. Her killer name. Her, you know how like there's the Boogeyman. Hers is the Scarlet Slayer, which I'm pretty sure, I'm gonna check this right now, but I'm pretty sure one of the books in this series is named Scarlet Slayer. Checking on my phone. Yeah, well, technically, the third one, the next one is Scarlet Angel. And then the fourth one is All the Lies. I can guess where that one goes. And then the last one is Painted All Red.
Oh!
I would let you know the last one is 170 pages. This one was 115. They just progressively get longer. Like the next one I think is 130, and the one after that is like 150, and then the last one is 170. And so the first two are like 110.
Well, I
So
imagine there's a
110
lot
and
of
115, and then it's just like 20 more pages each.
a lot to cover and wrap up, you know?
Yeah. So, they figured out, we're back to Logan, they figured out that the SWAT team commander, right, his daughter, her 20-year-old daughter, has been missing. So, yeah, his hands are, like, shaking. He's, like, in interrogation.
20-year-old?
20-year-old, yeah. She's, like, in
You
college.
mean I would be a target for the boogeyman?
Yeah. So, like, they have him in an interrogation room, and his hands are shaking, and pacing, and yeah, she hasn't showed up to her college classes for 4 days. Um, and the excuse that the roommate was given was that she had to go home because of a family loss. Uh, so they think that maybe that was an excuse that the boogeyman slash Clemens, his real name is Clemens, actually used to get
Dog.
the girl. Forget her name. It's probably gonna come up on these notes. The mother had no idea that she was missing. And so, yeah, there's like a small possibility she's alive. And so when he's questioning the SWAT team leader, he's all like, I gotta detach myself from the guilt. Cause he's all like blaming them for killing his daughter because, he was told that if he went to the police or the FBI, he'd kill her. And so he's all like, God damn it, she's dead. Yep. So he's all like, I gotta desensitize myself, all this stuff. Also, he doesn't tell the SWAT leader that the best chance of his daughter surviving would have been for us to raid that warehouse. And so if he hadn't told him anything, and hadn't done what he said, they would have raided that warehouse. He would have run and wouldn't have been able to take her with him, and so she would most likely have just been left there breathing. And there's a good chance they would also have him in custody. But he doesn't tell him that because he doesn't want him to feel bad and blame himself. Yeah. So the warehouse that Clemens slash the Boogeyman was staying in with her is famous for having a lot of homeless men in it. And there's like they turned a blind eye and all this stuff. And the room that he kept her in, there was a lot of blood. Also, in case you forget his MO is to rape women, and as he's in the process, he stabs them. So they're slowly bleeding out as he's doing it. Their theory is that he did that to her, but then would crudely suture up her wounds so she wouldn't bleed out. Just enough to make it so she wouldn't bleed out. Yeah. So, he's just a really great guy. Really can't wait for Lana to kill him.
Stand-up guy, for real.
Blah, 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 part where they talk about, how the county police department totally, planned the whole Lana running to the hospital thing. to catch the serial killer and get credit for it. So all the stuff. Yeah, the sheriff though specifically called Duke as a courtesy, but said didn't have any specifics to share, so Duke didn't even know. And he for sure did have specifics, he just didn't. And because she's not on the call list, they didn't call her. Yeah. And I think the chief is doing this because there's like the whole things where like all the since the FBI is right there, all the high profile cases just go to the FBI instead of them, and so they want to take this case from them. Yeah. Also, the chief knew that they had already told him and had his help having local enforcement guarding the hospital, checking anyone and everyone who resembled Clemens, because they told him that he'd want to observe the everything that happened in that hospital, and so he purposely put her in danger.
I don't like that.
Craig is also not happy about this. For those who did not remember, Craig is the one from the first one who initially hit on her and called her Ice Princess and said that he didn't want frostbite on his dick anyways when she turned him down. Don't worry, in this one, he's kind of actually a good guy.
Jimmy, I think Eddie thinks me sucks.
He's kind of like a good guy in this one because, like, technically the whole team isn't supposed to be looking into the other cases and all the stuff, but they think there's a connection and all the stuff, but also, like, they're not supposed to be they get told by their boss not to look for Lana. Because she's not in any real danger, for sure. And so Craig's like, well, technically, because I'm not a profiler, that doesn't lead to me. So he, like, helps with, like, going in between cases and also keeping an eye on her or trying to find her and stuff like that. Oh, yeah, okay, so, I forget who it is who brings this up, but they were talking to someone from White Collar Crimes named Sarah, to try to find Lana by tracking her phone or anything. And she said the girl, and I quote, she said the girl knew how to keep from being found. She saw this a lot when working with sex crimes. Women who were abused repeatedly dropped off grid and became isolated in private. I doubt that's the case with the other girl since she seems comfortable in her own skin and unafraid, but I did find a lot of similarities in her privacy extremes to what Sarah was telling me. It's always the first conclusion she draws, though. But this is the first time Logan's like, hey, wait. I don't remember if this is actually Logan saying it or someone else. I can check on my phone. I don't know why I'm not.
Girl, I don't know.
Sidetracked. Oh, okay, so it's Logan saying this next part. So he's all, like, thinking about that, and he's like, wait a second, what? And then he's like, no. Because, like, if anything, she doesn't understand the severity of her situation. She's too brave. And like,
Lord.
yeah. And he's all like, anyone who'd ever been physically assaulted in that way wouldn't be turning away cops when she knows she's a potential victim for a sexual sadist. I want her protective custody. The protective detail is no longer good enough. They'll take it seriously if you back me. This is him talking to Craig. I remember. Or Donnie. One of the two. I don't remember. Should check. Can you just give me a character? Okay, it's still Greg. It's still Craig. So, yeah. The fact that he says this after, in his profiling of her, he has recognized that, and also the fact that she brought up that he's one of the good cops. Not everyone is into it just to help people. They're in it for, like, the glory, or the, like, being able to kill someone, or stuff like that. And all this stuff, mixed with the fact that she didn't like that he was FBI when they first met. Doesn't click in his brain that maybe there's something there with her. She doesn't trust police. Maybe that's why. Especially, oh my god, the fact that he doesn't know what happened in that town. Trust me, this book, second half of this book, any Logan scene is him just being like, what the fuck happened in that town? And me being like, I don't know, Logan. I don't know.
Mhm.
So then he does this whole thing. Oh yeah. Also, there's this whole thing where he tries to get Hadley to look for Lana, but Hadley won't do it. Like, she keeps on denying him and be like, "No, I'm gonna search for our victim because that's who really matters, not your girlfriend." Right.
I mean,
Yeah. So, and this is the part where, like, their department head or whoever who doesn't know anything, is all like, he's like described as like your typical manager who doesn't actually know anything about the position or the job or anything, but they're given the job, right? Just because they have like a degree or something. And so he's all like, you can't go after her. So Craig's like, here, I'll handle it, because like technically I'm allowed to, right? Because I'm not a profiler. And then after he does that for Logan, Logan's like, hey, quick question, how did Clem / the Boogeyman know the SWAT commander's name or his daughter's?
he's chewing on my bra right now. You have
um,
something to tell me, Kiki?
she's like, Mommy, I
You
need
have
a plot
something
too.
to know? Huh?
They realize, oh shit, Clemens does have computer skills. That wasn't on our profile. Oh no. Anyways, time for Kenneth Ferguson, aka Hadley's stepfather. This is the fun times. She has already killed him at this point. Lana has.
LOL.
She's, yeah. He, so, there's this whole thing where she is in her head talking about how, like, a lot of times, perpetrators of sexual violence aren't, like, you aren't who you expect. Like, sometimes they're a pretty girl, and whatnot. But, all this stuff. But he is, like, your typical what you'd think of when someone says predator, pedophile, all this stuff. Like, he's a big
Oh my
guy
gosh.
who wears a wife beater, and greasy hair, and so he's very heavy. And she had to like take him upstairs because she killed him in his basement, so that she could wash away the blood easier. Also, she tortured him for information to make sure that he actually hurt girls. Cough, cough. Yes. So she had to do that, and then she had to like. Thankfully, he was close to the water. I think it was a lake, maybe an ocean. Uh, so she was able to like drag him there, but like it took a lot of work. Which is why they think there's like this whole thing where the police, when they find Ken's body, because they do quickly realize it's the same killer, right? Which she tries her hardest to make it so they don't realize that, right? But she's not surprised when they do. But she, they're all like, hey, maybe it's a woman, because like it seems like sexual violence seems to be like the killer's going after people who commit these heinous crimes, possibly a victim themselves, so most likely a woman. Uh, and then someone else brings up the fact that this guy is like nearly 300 pounds. No normal sized woman would be able to like take that size of a guy into like that far of a distance up the stairs, all the stuff, let alone the other victims and all the stuff. So there's no way it can be a woman.
Well, but it's not an adversarial woman like it is, but
Logan does go, well, maybe the killer's a woman, and she tricked us with making it look like she's a man. You know how she does. The way he gets so close and then he just U-turns, and I'm just like, Logan, please. Not her describing him as a balding fat slob who hangs out in their briefs and white beater tank tops. Yeah, talk about stereotypes. And then she says, I've seen more ass crack than I care to remember. Anyways, it's darkness. She uses some of the, I think it's an ocean because it's salt water, and she uses it to wash off most of the blood, so it's not obvious. Uh, uh, so, yeah, and then also the salt water will corrode a lot of the evidence on him, so it's less work for her. The line, I can remember a time when I was afraid of the dark. Now even the snakes fear me. Anyways, he confessed everything. He has pictures in his nightstand. There are Polaroid pictures. There are 70 pictures of small children, mostly naked.
ew. Ew. Ew is an understatement.
Yep. He has labeled their names and their ages on the pictures, and there is one of Hadley in it, in the like packet of them.
Oh.
Um,
Oh.
so she feels bad. Um, she's all like, "Hey, I don't want her to have to see her own face up on the board of victims, right? That's like a horrendous thing to have to deal with. On top of all her coworkers having to see her like that, right? So she takes the photo so that she'll never have to worry about that, right? Yeah. Uh, she understands that Hadley probably thought it was really in her head all the time. And how her mother paid a professional to make her believe that it was all in her head. Um,
Like, that's actually insane, though.
yeah, yeah. Not the line. So many good people in this world, and it took a monster to end the suffering of so many innocent children. Anyways, uh, nails. You may be wondering, hey, why are there nails on the apple on the cover? And also, other things. So, her thing has been, she takes a nail out of, like, just a random door frame or whatever, at each of the houses and puts it in an apple for each of her kills. So there's one apple in her murder room that has, like, 12, or I think 10 officially nails in it, right? Um,
That's iconic. I don't care.
Yeah. But you may also, it's not brought up until later, but I'll bring it up now. Part of the torture she did, because she couldn't cut off his dick because that's her normal MO. She, for each of his victims, because there were 70 victims, she took 70 nails and put each one in his balls.
Uh-huh.
I just love her so much.
I don't blame her at all. She's in the right. I don't care.
But yeah, where they die, a nail gets taken and then she puts it in her apple. And she's like, maybe I am, have adopted the serial method of trophy collecting, but like it's not like anyone's noticed it, which I have not. So 20 miles away from his place, of resting on private hunting ground, is a old witch head. She opens it, and guess what? There is a little girl that he has recently kidnapped and put in there.
Oh my god.
She tells the girl, "I'm here to save you from the monster." So she takes the girl. She says, and I quote, "I have a friend, a woman I knew in another life. She's a good mama. She'd be a good mama. She'd take care of you." And then the girl asks, "Really? She'll keep me safe from him?" And she says, "I'll keep you safe from him. I can promise he'll never return, okay?" Right? So she drives her, she drives her to someone from her past house, cough cough. Her name's Lindy May. I think the girl's name is Laurel, if I remember properly. Also, another grade A line. My grip tightens on the steering wheel, wishing I'd cut that dick off and sewn it into his mouth.
You know, I wouldn't blame her. I don't blame her at all. You can't
Um,
blame her.
so, both Lindy May and Diana are two people brought up from, their times, her time in her hometown, Something Grove. I always forget the name of it. Something Grove. Should I check? Now you're sending me a Snapchat. Who are you?
Who am I? Wow.
Do I know you? Delaney
I would
Grove.
hope
That's the name
so.
of the town. Delaney Grove. Um, so, both Lindy May and Diana try to seek justice for, Lana, and Lindy suffered because of it. She was only 5 years older, than Lana when they took everything from her. Cough, cough. I am, so, Kyle, that is his name. Right.
Fucking Kyle.
So there is a brief section of flashback where when they took Marcus and Lana right away to do their deeds, Lindy May screamed, "I will call the FBI," all this stuff, and they told her, "Do you really think they'll do anything? They didn't do anything about her daddy." And then Kyle says, "Don't worry, I'll go to her afterwards and I'll make sure she doesn't talk." And then it's described later on, but basically, he, after, gang raping Lana, he went and raped Lindy May, and when she tried to tell her husband, Kyle said that they just had an affair, and she's making it up, and her husband believed him.
What the fuck?
And
what's wrong with
this is around the time when I told you me on my way to fight every man in this town, and then sent, I think it was a gif of Chuck Norris punching.
I agree. I'll join. Don't worry.
That's what I sent you at, because I went, the fuck. He said, I'll teach that bitch a lesson later. And he did. And I quote, Kyle did silence her. He didn't just silence her. He ruined her. Lindy suffered a loss trying to save me, but puts flowers on my grave every year. She talks to that grave, saying she's sorry she failed me. She goes back to the hell to speak to a dead girl who she thinks she let down. Meaning every year at least once a year, she goes back to that stupid town just so she can put flowers on Lana's grave. Or Victoria's grave. So Lindy, sees the girl, she's carrying Laurel in her hands. She does flinch slightly when she hands her over and their hands touch, right? She puts her to bed, and she makes her sandwich, gives her some water, all this stuff. So she's instantly like, oh my god, you're alive, right? And she doesn't really explain much at first. Alana says when this breaks the news, you come forward, tell them a little girl showed up at your door, but you didn't know who brought her to you. His name was Kenneth Ferguson. And the only way they may find the bodies he has buried without me giving them the information herself is by Lindy taking Laurel to the police. Because I'll bring this up now, because they don't get into later, but, basically, while she was torturing him, she had him describe the map of where he buried all the bodies, right? Mm-hmm. And then, made him sign it in his own blood.
Oh my god.
And when Logan sees this map, he realizes the reason why he knows where all the graves are so well is because he visits them.
No.
Yeah, he visited the graves. That's how he knew where the bodies were, even though like she was torturing him and all this stuff. It's a good time.
That's insane. I know, right? Insane.
Basically, Lindy's trying to apologize for everything, and Lana's like, it's not your fault. He'll have his day, Lindy. He'll suffer the worst. They're talking about Kyle. Iconic. And yeah, basically her husband Antonio, there we go, Antonio, left her, believed Kyle, when Kyle said they just had sex, all this stuff, and then just left her. And then we learn from, she doesn't say this, but, Lana, has Antonio on her list. Not for death, but for penance. Should be fun. And that Jake has already started the process of ruining him, starting with bankruptcy. With any luck, the bastard will kill himself within the year when he's homeless, penniless, and pointless. You know, I'm not gonna say anything, because, like, I've already said a lot of things about how much I stan her, like.
And I agree with you. I agree. I so agree.
Lindy brings up, Diana, the other girl who tried, and Lana says, that she knows, they threatened her son, and that, she's gonna play a different part. Her ducks are all in a row. She's been patient. She's thought it through, and she just has to wait for the chips to fall in place, and while they play poker, I'll be playing dominoes.
I'm, like, I can't, like, speechless. Like, how am I supposed to, like...
I don't know. So, oh my god, the line about, her talking with Lindy May, someone who understands everything, and is like, okay, go off, queen, about killing them, because she's, like, seen the news about them dying. one by one, and she connected the dots, and she's like, I knew it was someone, I didn't know it was you. And be like, if you need help, anything, like, all that stuff. And Lana's thinking about how she's been alone for so long, especially about her past, right? And the grade A line is, but it's the first time I've faced my past with a face I didn't want to cut off. It hurts as much as it heals. I'm pretty sure this is when they hugged, also. Just very sweet, okay? So, when Lindy asks why she hasn't come forward, with anything, about why she's killing them or any of this stuff, she says because there are so many more to kill, I'm not ready for everyone to know why. And Lindy promises they won't hear from her. She'll do whatever she needs just to make sure those son of bitches never hurt anyone ever again. And she tells her that she's already killed 6. And Lindy says, then you have a long list ahead of you, hinting at how long this goddamn list is. Oh my fucking god. Yeah. So,
I don't even know what to say about this, honestly.
Yeah. There's this whole part where they talk about how, they offer Laurel to take as long as a shower she wants and all this stuff, and she does. But she doesn't, like, lock the door. Like, they talk about how, even to this day, Lindy locks the door when she takes a shower. And she's like, you can lock the door if you want, it's all up to you, all this stuff. And how Lana thinks about how it took her a long time to stop locking the door when she takes her shower, because, like, it's a vulnerable situation to be in, right? And, all this fun stuff, right? And Laurel is all like, I don't need to lock the door, because, her whole thing was that she was confined, and so she wants the open space, right? And so they recognize that she is a different type of victim, isn't exactly the same, so it's gonna be a little bit difficult, but, like, hopefully, cause, like, Laurel is 100% a fighter. She's all like, hell yeah, this monster killed or this angel. She thinks that Lana's an angel. She thinks that, but she knows Lana killed the guy, and so she's all like, hell yeah, this angel killed my monster. Iconic. Same. And so she's worried that Laurel will turn out more like her, and so she wants her to turn more like Lindy, who's sweet and caring, and already, like, mothering her and all this stuff, right? So it goes from that scene to Lana has returned home now. She's taking a shower after, killing people. When she hears footsteps,
God.
Yeah.
Oh god.
So,
no.
This is the part where she has 2 guns. She has the one that she keeps in her kitchen / front door area, and she has one in her bathroom. And she's like, yes,
God.
it seems unlikely that if I'm being chased down, I will run to the bathroom because there's no escape from the bathroom or anything like that. But just to be safe.
You will be vulnerable in the bathroom, so I understand.
So yeah, she hears footsteps, and she quietly puts on a towel and opens the shower door and is, like, watching. And then she clutches her gun that's hiding in the bathroom. And then she sees movement when she exits the bathroom, and guess who's there? Who put his hand around her wrist? It's Logan.
Oh god.
And he's all like, wait a second, you actually have a gun.
She's a woman who lives alone.
Yeah, honestly, right? Like, the cases that you've seen, sir.
When the boogeyman exists.
I know, right? So he's all like, you really do have a gun. And she's like, why are you in my house?
How did you get in my house?
Yeah. He's still holding her wrist, and he takes a gun from her. He puts it away, turning safety on. And then he's all, like, apologizing. You have every right to be pissed. And he sits on her bed.
How did he get in?
I don't know. Also, I assume, like, she gave the police a key, right?
Still.
Because there's, like, people watching her house and all that stuff. Also, she's still just in a towel. Oh yes, another grade A line. Most of my anger is gone now that I've stabbed a man to death, which allows me to slowly digest what he's saying without too many emotions clogging up my logic. She just silently, like, slip one tear out again. So, like, he's all apologizing, and she understands, and, now that it's not the heat of the moment, she, like, gets it, and so, she doesn't really say anything back, though, and he's like, I'm not leaving here until this is resolved, I'm not leaving here until I know this is okay. Oh god, this
I
part! This is literally, I got to 75%. I think I messaged you last night. I was like, I just got to 74% and she just dropped this bomb on me and I don't like, how the fuck dare she, or something like that.
yeah, I remember.
And I'm at that point in the highlights. Anyways, they make up and then they start to have makeup sex.
Uh-huh.
But apparently he doesn't have any condoms on him.
Oh God.
So he's all
Oh
like,
God.
hey, do you have, he asked how long it's been since she's been with someone other than him. She gives him an exact number of days. And
Oh,
he's
okay.
like, okay, I think it was like something like 500 days.
Okay.
And we know from his point of view from the first book, it's definitely been uh, a good chunk of time for him. I don't remember the exact amount of time, but it was like definitely more than like half a year. So, um, so he's all like, okay, are you on birth control? Because they're both clean, right? So he's like, do you have birth control? And this is when she admits that she can't have children. And she recognizes that she could have just lied, could have just glossed over everything and promised she couldn't get pregnant, or that she's on birth control or anything like that. But she's sick of lying to him and doesn't want to. And so she explains, by pointing at the scars on her abdomen, that she lost a lot that night. And then she rolls over to point to the scars on his back that he hadn't noticed yet or brought up yet. And there's one close to her hip, and she says that she also lost a kidney.
Okay.
He's very sad now, and he's like, what else? Um, and on the curve of her ass, oh yeah, there's another long scar, right? She explains that her face is very fucked up. And I quote, "There's more metal in there than bone right now." There were a lot of very complicated, somewhat experimental surgeries to restore a semblance of bone structure. The man who worked a miracle is quite frankly a genius. He lives in Russia, but came to the States just for my surgery. Money can change the outcome of someone's life. Internally, she's thinking about how if she hadn't been able to do that, she would have been the monster they created. Because that's how much they fucked up her face. And then she
That's a
Goodreads
very
has
good
like
question.
cut off the rest of my highlights for this book, so now I gotta go into my book and see. Right. So there's the line, telling him the truth without telling him the whole truth is oddly therapeutic. I'm sick of constantly lying. Even a little truth makes this feel more real. Um. So. uh. I gotta search for the word mirror
Hear
because
me
that's
out.
the next scene.
I do believe, because I imagine she was normal before everything happened, so she is still assumably capable of experiencing normal emotions.
She does describe it as she hasn't been able to feel normal emotions this whole time. Uh, like after the grief and the constant crying and all that stuff, once that was over, it basically was just a rage that took over. So it's either rage or numbness all the time until Logan came along, and this is the first time she's like felt hope and love and all these happy things. Um, and so she
Yeah.
describes it as like every time she touches him or he touches her, it makes her feel like she's slightly more healed. Her soul is slightly more healed. Just from him being there, and it's
I'm gonna bust. I gotta get
fine.
off.
um. So they're okay. Mirror time. So I think it's the scar on her butt. But basically Kyle slammed a broken piece of mirror into her. The same mirror they broke after they used it to taunt my brother. I have a mirror for Kyle too, several mirrors. He'll get to watch everything I do.
Oh my god.
He's all like, it's a miracle you survived, and she's like, well, technically, I died twice. She flatlined twice, and she views it as her coming back and like being able to like live, as her being reborn. And then, believe it or not, they bang.
Well, they just had the most heart to heart to ever heart to heart. Obviously, they have to bang afterwards.
So, like most of the times that they bang, it's described as like in a way that she likes to be in control when she's intimate with someone. Understandable, right? Makes sense. With her past, but with him, she doesn't mind letting him take control because she feels safe with him.
Yes.
Anyways, so, while they're at it, his phone keeps on ringing constantly. And so, afterwards, after he's done, he's still technically in her, but he's laying on top of her now. They're done, panting, out of breath, all this stuff. Also, I'd like you to know, in this sex scene, to apologize for everything. This is the first time he goes down on her. Oh my god, the way that you said Kiki, as I say he goes down on her.
Kiki, get down! No! No, she's trying to get my whiteboard. I'm so sorry. I thought I muted myself.
But basically, he's all like, oops, sorry for making you feel all these things. Let me eat you out. And then he does. And she's like, apparently you're really good at apologies. This is the first time that happens. Also, it's described as she's never let anyone ever, even like before everything happened, she never let anyone go down on her. Because she doesn't like to feel vulnerable like that. And, anyways, we love Logan. Anyways, so he's like still in her, but on her, they're done panting, out of breath, blah blah blah. And she's like, pick up your goddamn phone. And he's all like, no matter what's happening, while I'm inside you, I will never pick up my phone.
Oh my god!
So she slides him out of her and then grabs his phone for him. Which is where, basically, he slowly, more quickly, actually, gets dressed, as he's on the phone, and she goes to the bathroom, cleaning up, but, like, also, like, overhearing everything, right? Basically, they found Ferguson, Hadley's stepfather's body already.
Damn.
And so, the guy who's in charge of the investigation is Duke. And, they immediately bring in Hadley to question her, right? Because she has a connection, and, Logan is very angry because, there's no way she could have done it. Like, why are they questioning her? She, has been in the office, like, she's literally been sleeping in the office, she has not left the office since they've been on the Boogeyman hunt, so, like, how could she do it? So, yeah.
I don't know. Maybe because she didn't.
And then, so, Lana's reaction to him being found already is that bastard has already been found. Damn him. I should have stabbed him more for ruining this moment.
Why is this so good?
I know, right? So anyways, he is worried about leaving Lana on her own. So, he has her get dressed. It's all like, let's go. I'm going to take you into office. You can't, like, actually go into the office, but you can just be sitting in the waiting room, while I take care of this, right? And she's all like, okay. He says that Hadley's stepfather was found, and, she, like, she immediately goes to, like, blank emotion when she's just not supposed to react to something, but then she's all like, wait, I have to give some reaction, so then she's like, oh no. Was she close with him? And he's like, no, she wasn't. And so she's like, okay. He gets out a dress and gives it to her to change into, and she immediately laughs at him and then puts on workout clothes instead. And she's all like, I'm not gonna put on a dress unless if I'm gonna also, like, put on a full face makeup when we're going out for dinner. And he's like, okay, fine. Yeah.
Oh, that just means he has to take her out on a real date, huh?
Don't worry. Part of his apologizing was like, I'm gonna take you on a real date, and then a real date, and then a real date, and then a real date. I also didn't bring this up, but there were like in between when the whole thing where like the car was hit and the boogeyman attacked and all this stuff, and she went to the hospital, and when she agreed to let Duke stay in her house and all this stuff, basically every like 24 hours Logan would go to her house to sleep for 4 hours, and like nothing happened. He basically just slept in her bed as she stroked his hair for 4 hours. And he feels bad. Also, this fact that I brought up to you in our personal conversation, but I didn't bring up in the first book. When she says, when they first started having flirty conversations, and she brought up the fact that he was FBI and she doesn't mind that he's law enforcement and all this stuff, he says, oh, you like handcuffs? And she's all like, I'm not really into that, but I wouldn't mind handcuffing you. And he's all like, I'll save that for a later date. And then there was another point where they joked about pegging, and let's just say it was heavily insinuated that he wouldn't mind if she pegged him.
Yeah, I remember that.
We love a man. Anyways, after she gets ready, she's like, okay, let's go. As she puts up her hair, as if my life wasn't complicated enough, I'm about to head into FBI headquarters. Lovely. Right? So, Duke shows some, like, Logan has barged into the interrogation room, right? Duke has shown her some of the pictures of the children, right? Hadley immediately doubles over and vomits.
Valid.
Duke feels bad, and she's, like, freaking out, and she...
Why would he show her? What the fuck?
Basically, it is described that he wants to get information from her to see if she's also a victim. But also, at another point, the way that Duke is interviewing Laurel and Lindy May, it's basically described that his interview style is basically very harsh. The point where Laurel, like, actually gets scared of him. And Logan's like, dude, God. What the fuck? You can't ask them questions like that. That's re-victimizing them. Stop. Basically, she goes out, she needs air. Logan has Craig, go with her, to keep her company, right? And he's all like, you want to see her reaction? And Duke says she ran away for a reason. She accused him, and he says that he's trying to get answers about the special places he took her, as terrible as that sounds. And I quote, we need to find these kids, even if they're we're just recovering bodies. Someone killed this guy, but I'm looking for the dozens of kids who are missing more than I'm looking for his killer. This is the part where, like, especially Duke is very much team, hey, I don't mind this killer. I really don't feel bad about this guy dying. I don't actually want to catch the killer. I just want to find these bodies, of these poor children, so that they can be properly buried and all this stuff. Right? Valid.
I agree.
The torture included a knife and a blowtorch. And then, oh, you remember the part about the 70 nails in his balls?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, they also apparently she also put them in his feet as well as his balls. Oh no. Yeah, good times. This is the part where they're slowly connecting the dots between Lana's other kills and this guy, right? And then that's when Lindy May brings in Laurel. She's bruised and malnourished, and Lindy May claims that she was left on her doorstep the night before, and that the girl is a victim of Ferguson. So they go outside quickly, and the little girl says something to Hadley, and Hadley studies the girl. That's gonna be important. I have a feeling. It's not so far in this book, but I have a feeling. So immediately as soon as they enter the room, Duke just goes, "What?" Just like very loud, tall, strong man asking a small little child who has been kidnapped and assaulted for assumably weeks by this man, kept in a shed, and he just yells what at her. Yeah, she hides behind Lindy May.
Yeah.
He's all like, whoops. And Logan realizes that the girl is already clinging to Lindy May. And Lindy May is already treating her like a mother would, right? All this stuff. Oh, okay. So afterwards, Hadley blames herself for all the victims because if she got someone to just believe her, then maybe there wouldn't have been so many. Like
Oh my God. No.
she explains that like she thought she was crazy. They made her think she was crazy. That she made it all up. And I think around this point is when Logan realizes of the 69 pictures, and that there's 70 nails, and there's one picture missing. There, and it's most likely hers, which means the victim or the killer feels a connection with Hadley somehow, right? And so this is why he thinks that the killer is a victim themselves, right? Which like brings into question the profile of Lana's other kills because they quickly realize that they're the same person, right? Anyways, Hadley goes home, right? And uh, Logan recognizes that she needs space, just hopes that this doesn't break her. And she pauses and eyes Lana weirdly, and he's confused. But he can't like see Lana or like Hadley's face, so he doesn't like understand what's going on there. I don't really either, cause like Lana
I
POV.
mean, I
Lana's
don't
next
know.
POV, she like mentions that Hadley came in and looked at her weirdly, and then just left.
Hadley has a vibe already.
Yeah.
Hadley knows, she just can't prove it.
Yep. Uh, and Logan makes a point to question Hadley about that later. Um, so, someone, Donnie, no wait, someone else. Craig is the one who figures this out. Lindy May is from Delaney Grove, the same town as all these other victims, right? So this is when they connect the dots, that they're all the same killer. So yep, good times. Craig notes that there's no castration. That's his one constant. Why would he deviate that? And then Logan's all like, he didn't want this tied to him. This was an impulsive kill. He wasn't prepared. The footsteps were dug up. That's another thing. Afterwards, she took a hoe and like dug up her footsteps from taking him to the water, so they couldn't see her footsteps. Meaning he wasn't wearing his normal boots. He may have even tricked us with his weight.
Oh my God.
He poured bleach all over the scene of the crime, washing away evidence. That's not in his MO, which means he's normally more prepared. What triggered this? And this is when they realize he's not a sadist. That a sadist wouldn't take the time to find a child and see them off into the hands of someone they felt would care for the child. He wouldn't give a damn. And then they say there was no rage. The kills were brutal, but each slice of the knife was controlled and calculated. No rage means no revenge. And then Logan clicks in his brain, and he's like, wait a second. What if he has been preparing this for such a long time, much longer than we expected, and so he numbed himself to the emotions, so rage wouldn't be found in the kills because of that. It would be about inflicting as much pain as possible, hence the days and days of torture. Dude, Logan gets so close to the fucking truth, and the whole time I'm just like, because I know one day he's gonna figure it out, and I'm gonna shit my pants when that day comes. Oh my god. Leonard, another one of the FBI people, brings up the fact that revenge would lead to this guy contacting the media. He's killed 6 guys, at least, that they know of. I'm trying to think. There were the 4 before this book, or the first book, and then there were the 3 guys during that book, and plus the alleyway guy, but that was a different MO. So there should be 7 bodies, and they've only found 6, which is hilarious to me. I want to know which one they haven't found.
Well, then I can make a no body, no crime joke for real now.
I know, right?
Because, you know.
He's killed 6. He'd want
She
the
thinks I
story
did it, but
known.
she just can't prove it.
He'd want the world to know why he was doing this. It doesn't make sense. And Logan points out targeting Hailey's stepfather can't be a coincidence. He's been studying them. He doesn't want the media knowing yet because he doesn't want the world to know his motives until he's ready for his end game. We have no idea how long that list is, which is why we need to know what happened that was so bad that a seemingly normal person who cares enough about a child to deliver them to a safe doorstep would become a brutal torturer and killer. So there's like talks about the town. And Logan says that they can't leave the Clemens case behind. They still have to focus on that case, and then they'll dig into Delaney Grove. And Craig says that technically he's able to, so he will look into it. And then Craig asks, because like he's not a profiler, he's asked, what does it mean if a serial killer goes after someone who hurt a member of our team? And one of the profilers says when he goes after a pedophile, it means he suffers something similarly traumatic. Maybe even feel a kinship with Hadley. I don't feel like he's targeting us. I feel like he wants us to understand him. Cough, cough. So there's basically a lot of questioning Lindy May, and all this stuff. And she makes them she makes them make sure that she gets to keep Laurel if she gives them the information. She eventually gets it in paper, in like writing. She's like, I want it in writing. We learned from last POV that she made sure that Lindy May came to the FBI and specifically did this because she knew that Logan would keep his promise and make sure that she got to keep Laurel without re-victimizing them too much. And all the stuff, good times. And so that's when she gives him the map that Lana got from torturing Ferguson. Also, there's like this whole thing with like her calligraphy on it. He realizes that purposely she wrote her calligraphy in a way that would make it so they'd be able to tell who wrote it. And is like, what type of serial killer knows calligraphy? Like, use a calligraphy pen and everything. Anyways,
That's actually really funny.
The marks of the graves, even with like the names, specific names of each grave, is like all surrounding that shed and all that stuff. So that's a good time. And also, they do briefly question Lindy May on Delaney Grove, and she's like, "Have you ever been there? Like, you know how bad it is." Of course, I left. They bring up her ex-husband, all this stuff. They use her married last name, and she's like, "It's not that anymore. It's just Lindy May." All this stuff, and they ask when she left, and she says 9.5 years ago. And so now they know to look into stuff that happened in Delaney Grove within 10 to 9.5 years ago. Good times. So they ask about Laurel if she's been to like a doctor yet, and she says they're going there next, and all this stuff. So he also recognizes that Laurel most likely hasn't been raped. He just made her do other things because, and there's like this whole thing where he realizes that Ferguson's whole thing was because like he kidnapped girls that were in such a wide age group, and normally you choose like pedophiles are specific about the age, and it's like within 2 or 3 years. But instead of like 9 years, I think it was something like that. And so Logan recognizes he was kidnapping the younger ones to groom them into being what he wanted, right? And so, and he's like, most of the girls probably actually died by suicide because that's normal for grooming victims, of this stature and all this stuff. So, he was basically just grooming Laurel at the time. I say just. God, roll my eyes. And like, it still is a bad thing, but like, it wasn't as bad as it could have been. And he also recognizes in Lindy's protecting of Laurel that she speaks like a victim herself, as though she understands the trauma on a different level, and that the killer knew this. And there's no way it could have been a coincidence. Like, he had to have known this. That Lindy May knows this, and she's apparently for whatever crusade the killer's on. And so he's all like, I won't question her anymore because it affected more than just the unsub. It was this bigger thing, and whatnot. But I won't question her anymore because she probably won't answer. And if she does answer, it'll just re-traumatize her, and I can figure out the information, without her. It just may take longer. Which we love a man who won't re-victimize his victims. Wow, a bare minimum. But she gets it in writing, and so all this stuff. Good times. So Logan is all like, they don't recognize how dangerous this guy will become. Revenge killers have no limitations on who dies. The smallest of infractions is death sentence. They take justice into their hands, become judge, jury, and executioner, becoming too immortal in their own minds. Basically, he believes that the killer will start just killing people in the street. There has already been signs of this. One, Lana Soft's just like someone, like the ex of her boyfriend is in her house and she wants to cut her up. Two, the guy in the alleyway in the last one. Like, obviously, he finds it eerie how organized the map is. Yep. Oh yeah, the written in his own blood. That's so funny. So the strokes of him signing his own name with his finger with his own blood are shaky, as though he was trembling when the unsub made him sign this with his own blood. That's the level of cold that had us profiling him as a sadist. And then there's so many X's marking so many graves. The names of each children written in calligraphy. And the only structure on the map being a shed of some kind. The graves are all around it. Basically the shed that Laurel is being kept in. And the map goes from his home, roads, names marking each turn to take. Basically, they realize this is when they realize that Ferguson visited the bodies. And this is also where he realizes that the killer spared, Hadley of having to see her own photo up on the wall. He spared the executive of our team seeing her photo next to these. He sent Lindy here instead of the police. He knew we'd take it more personally. Knew there was a stronger chance of getting custody of Laurel. And then, so he's all like, there's probably like some connection that this killer has with Hadley that he feels and all this stuff. And then he goes, and like stands in the doorway to the weight room where Lana's sitting watching TV while drinking a Coke. And he's watching her as he's thinking, she has no idea how sick the world is. I hate that I can't take her home right now. I hate that this got more complicated and now I need to stay. She's the only thing keeping me sane right now. You know, because, like, she has no idea how sick the world is. You know, she has no idea how sick the world is. The way that I read that away. Alright, I think this is the last chapter, which is a Lana chapter. So she quickly realizes while she's in the waiting room seeing all this stuff happen, like Hadley leaving crying, all this stuff, that they have recognized that it's her that's the killer. Well, not her, but her killer persona is the killer. And I quote, now I have to let him do his job trying to find me. She sees Lindy and Laurel walk by. Craig escorts them out. Laurel, waves at her, and she winks at him. As Logan is kissing her forehead as they leave, the building, which I think is funny. Also, like, when Lindy walked into the building and saw her there, she acted surprised, but, like, covered it up fast enough where no one noticed. And she also, like, saw, like, Hadley looking at her weird earlier. That's also a thing. Donnie, one of the other profilers, is, like, talking to him about stuff. And Logan's just, like, trying to, like, hold his girlfriend and all this stuff. And so he's like, Donnie, you remember my girlfriend? And she's like, oh my god, he called me his girlfriend. Oh my god. Yeah. He's all like, sorry, I didn't even notice you, blah, blah, blah. Logan gives her the keys to his car so that she can go home. Because he's got there's a connection between these kills, all this stuff. They kiss in the middle, make out in the middle of the hallway. People low-key laugh at them. Oh, also she sees Craig in the building, right? When she sees Craig in the building, for the first time, right? She's all like, what's his name again? Craig, I think? It still makes me laugh every time. One of the guys escorts her out. She drives home. She's very tired. She notices the patrol cars that were keeping an eye on her house are gone. Apparently called away to deal with the latest homicide case. That involves missing several children. So weird. And then I quote, "It's a terrible pun, but I nailed that bastard's balls to the wall. Well, actually, I nailed them to a chair. Riley cried for hours on end. Thank fuck for gloves. No way was I touching those ugly, wrinkly, hairy things with my hands otherwise." Anyway, she's still driving home when Jake calls her, tells her that Erica Norris, the, girl that the boogeyman had taken, who was the daughter of the SWAT team guy, right? He let her go, which is a little suspicious, a little weird. She's asking to speak to Logan. She's not that far away, right? And he knows it's because he hacked into the FBI cameras. And he's like, don't worry, they'll think it's some random Russian guy. And so they're trying to figure out why, he let her go, and then she gets home, and she's like, okay, I'm gonna go to bed. She does not quickly recognize that, phone's playing, or not phone, music's playing in her house, and she didn't leave the music playing when she left. She's like, I must have left it on, I guess. She locks the door, yeah, basically, and guess what? Boogeyman is, you know how I thought the first book was gonna end with the boogeyman taking her? No, that's actually the end of this one. The boogeyman is there in her house, whacks her over the head, chokes her out, all this stuff, and before she passes out, he says into her ear, feisty, I like that, and so pretty. Agent Bennett, which is Logan's last name, picks them well. Yeah. He's left you all alone finally. I know, right? He left you all alone finally. Tell me, princess, are you afraid of the boogeyman? And that's the last line of this fucking book.
No.
Yes, that is literally the last line.
You hear this nonsense, Kiki Roni?
Yeah. Yeah, you know why I was like, oh my fucking god, that ending. I'm pretty sure my Goodreads review of that is, I think, I rated 4.5 stars, the same as I rated the first one. And I'm pretty sure.
If you don't get a 5 stars out of these, I'm gonna be upset myself.
I think, if I remember properly, my review of it was something along the lines of, I need 2 business days. Yeah, I'm gonna need 2 business days and the rest of the series series stacked to handle that ending. Which is why I wanted to record this today, so that I can read the third one tonight. Because after I wash my face at 9 p.m., I like to crawl into my little bed and read this book, because I'm fucking insane.
It's very you-coded.
Dude,
I had no thoughts.
The twist that she can't have children because what they did to her, anyways, I'm fine. And then the fact that the second one ends the way that I assume the first one's gonna end, wild.
Once again, asking who just does this? Who just writes this?
Oh my god, is that a Kiki on my phone?
There's multiple Kikis on your phone.
Oh my god, you didn't do the fun fact that you were watching a video of mine and Kiki was loafing on the phone.
It's true, she was. She was loafing on Rose.
Oh, look at those little eyes.
We needed to have 2 phones so I could capture that in real time.
Yes. Okay, good times. Yeah, this book, Secret Angel is what Scarlet Angel. Why do I keep on saying secret? Dark, intense, emotional ride that delves into themes of revenge, serial killing, and the complexities of human emotions. Wow. You want me to read the synopsis of the last one? Or not the last one, the next one?
No.
I'm gonna read it.
I want to be surprised today.
Okay, I'm gonna read it to myself then. Not out
Oh my
loud.
god.
Not out loud.
Oh.
So you can hear my reaction to the next one description. What the hell is the first I'm gonna read you the first line. To kill a monster, you have to be twice as monstrous. To love a monster, you have to share your soul.
What is? Oh, okay. Oh,
And
okay.
why is that how the synopsis starts? Let me just read the end of this synopsis. If anyone touches him, harms him, or even threatens him, then they should probably run because his girlfriend is a little bit crazy. They just don't know it yet. Be warned, some of the flashbacks in this one do get a lot more intense and detailed than the others prior to this book. Anyone with sensitive triggers should skip the flashbacks. I'm worried for myself.
So are you trying to tell me instead of touch her and you die, it's touch him and you die?
They're both
Is that what
touch and die.
Wow, one of them will actually do it.
True. Well, I don't know. He's killed people too, technically in self-defense, but he very much there. I didn't even tell you that there's for Plum / the Boogeyman Killer. Instead of like an arrest order, they just have a shoot to kill order. So the fact that he's now officially gone over after Lana, I am 100% sure if Logan ever saw this bitch, he would just pop real fast. And I thought.
Yeah.
Anyways, the moral of the story is I'm too obsessed with the series, and I need to try to read another book before I read the next one. But that book will probably be hefty enough, so I'm probably going to read the next one. And I'm so excited. My hip just popped and it hurt. That's fine.
I'm so sorry. Can you tell my head's so empty?
Yeah. That's why I was going to ask you if any thoughts on this book now that I finished talking about it. It's good.
I fear it's the medication, because I've been on it long enough to fully gather the effect.
What are your thoughts and opinion on Lana in this book?
Love her. I stand. I support. She's so real. She's doing no wrong.
Every young woman needs her martyr. I don't know what to say about this being my martyr. Anyways, what are your thoughts and opinions on Logan? Thoughts and opinions on Logan?
I approve of him.
Okay. Thoughts and opinions on Duke?
I don't approve of him.
Thoughts and opinions on Craig?
He's just okay.
He's just okay. He's actually like nice guy in this one, so I don't mind him as much in this one. Also, he's just mostly in the background. Thoughts and opinions on Hadley, a resident gay in this book?
Love. So sad. Deserves better. I'm in everybody's walls that pertain to her being treated badly.
Yes, accurate. I want to see her mother's reaction when they tell her that it all was actually real.
No, she definitely knew.
She definitely knew. Well, I don't know if she knew. It was very much described, the way that it was described was that she probably knew and just tried to hide it from herself. So I want to see her reaction when she can't hide the truth from herself anymore. When she has to come to terms that she let this monster into her house, let him hurt her own child, and also 69 other children, and then blamed her own child for it.
Insane. Like 70, like.
I know, right? When she said the number, I was like, I'm sorry, what? And then when it was described as nails, I was like,
Because it also sounded like you said 17. I'm like, there's no way. She had to have said 17.
When you asked me how many, and I went back to listen to it, I was like, it does somewhat sound like I said 17. I should definitely type out the number to make sure they know. I gotta make sure they know that I mean 70. 70.
I was like, oh, damn, I hope it's 17 and not 70 for real.
And then I do. Anyways, fuck Kyle, can't wait till he dies, probably in the last book.
Like, your name's already Kyle, you're already down.
I'm pretty sure from the titles alone, and my theories on how they go based on the titles, I'm sure Logan learns the truth in the fourth one, and the fifth one is when her rampage ends with Kyle. And Logan possibly tries to stop her, but then when he meets Kyle and hears everything, he's like, okay, and lets her do her thing. That's my theory.
I have no thoughts.
I'm so happy. Remember when you said I shouldn't read this?
When did I say that?
When I said I was going to do it for the podcast, and you were like, I don't know about that, bestie.
Oh yeah, because I heard that it was a lot. That's all.
And it is. Trust me, it takes a lot out of me, which is why then after I stop reading, I go listen to music, just calming classical music for like a solid 2 hours afterwards before I actually
Hear
go
me
to
out.
sleep.
Now that I'm thinking about it, I really do think it's the medication because, well, you've seen how I've acted the last few months since I started it. How do you have any thoughts and opinions about that?
Nope. Other than my allergies are kicking my ass.
Take your medicine.
I could. Or I could kiss some dogs
You
on the
should.
face.
The only way you can kiss dogs on faces and heads is if you take your allergy medicine.
I've already kissed them like a dozen times.
Okay, after this. That's the only way you can.
No.
And then you sneeze. Girl.
I've sneezed twice and my nose is all clogged up and it's great. It's all allergies. Also, my eyes are trying to burn, and it's not from the eczema. It's from the allergies.
How hard is it to take an allergy pill?
Not that hard. It's literally 2 feet away from me. My room's very small.
I know!
And I still have coffee left. I can take it with my coffee. Dude, you should be proud. The other day, I took allergy meds first thing in the morning.
Like you should?
At like 8 a.m.
Every single day like you should?
Maybe.
I said that sentence backwards, but you know what I mean.
Oh my god, the wind is so loud outside.
I can't hear it.
That's good. I get. Do you have any final thoughts on this book?
Good book.
Good book.
Good book.
Thank you. Check out the YouTube. Check out all our links. They're below. They're below. What's the episode after this one? The episode after this one is the humming room. So, I assume you like water creatures. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know. Does this person I call fish like water animals?
I want to Casey. Her name is Casey Ronan.